About an hour ago, we had a call from D-17, 58-foot fishing vessel with 4 adult males on board. The location of the vessel is across the Shelikof Strait in Portage Bay. It's about 113 miles west-southwest of Kodiak.
We programmed in the flight director straight line path to the last known position of the vessel in distress. And as we were getting closer and closer, we noticed the weather was quickly deteriorating over Shelikof Strait. The wind picked up, it was at 50 knots, and then we were seeing sustained winds 60 to 70 knots. At that point, we were able to establish radio communications with the vessel skipper.
Roger, roger. We're out to get off. Really banging hard. I don't know how long it's going to hold together here.
We were talking to them, and we fixed their position at that point. It was in a cove that was at the base of 2 pretty large mountains, and we were looking at sometimes up to 100 knots of wind coming in, which is pretty much equivalent to a Category 3 hurricane.
We determined that we were going to try to drop a trail line down to them and then use that to guide a rescue device to the vessel. We dropped down to about 3,000 feet, but we started picking up updrafts coming off of the mountains, and at one point we had all of the power taken out of the plane and we were still climbing at 1,000 feet per minute. So we were physically unable to descend.
Man, I don't even know what to say. There's no way we can get these guys off this boat. Not without risking, risking too much. Well, I mean, we can't even get a device to their boat physically. I mean, it's not even really a point of risk anymore. You know what I mean? And putting them in the water, I think, is a death sentence. And, Kimberly from the Coast Guard helicopter. I got you. And Roger, skipper, at this time, there's nothing we can get out of the helicopter down to your vessel to get you guys off right now, and I'm just not comfortable asking you guys to get in the water. We're reaching bingo fuel for us, so we're going to have to head back to base. Is another chopper going to head out right away? Roger, Captain, we're going to have another air crew start up another aircraft and start heading out this way.
It was very difficult to fly away from the vessel because we knew they were still really in a lot of distress, but we simply did not have enough fuel and we did not have the capability to get them off of that boat at that time.
What was alarming to me was my first reaction when I saw the crew that had been out there. When I saw their eyes, they looked beat up. Worst conditions they've ever been in. And when you're looking at 2 experienced pilots like that, Audie Andry and Jake Smith, when the top of the top tells you that it's bad out there, it's hard to send another crew out into that situation.
Gups, why don't we do this? Why don't we orbit above and maybe the winds will die down and you can go in and pick them up?
Yes, sir. Yeah, let me get that going.
Okay.
I feel comfortable, a little bit scared, but I'm going to go do this because, these people are counting on us.
So as soon as the second crew went out there, we called in another crew to engage and talk about the situation and the on-scene conditions.
We were really counting on that 3rd crew to be the crew that hoisted these folks. We knew that the 2nd crew was there just to kind of be ready in case things went worse, but we were counting on the 3rd crew being the one to get them out of there.
We had already launched 2 helicopters out there. They've been unable to hoist the individuals off the boat because of 90-plus knot winds. We deal with a lot of severe weather in Alaska, but 90-plus knots is something I've actually never heard of.
Just east of Hammerhead.
We were launching aircraft and planing, and then we heard the second Mayday call for a second star case.
We've lost all engines. Taking on massive water. We are drill. We have 7 people on board.
This is a different case, isn't it?
It is. Sounds like it is.
Yowzy.
Okay, we currently have a 60 on scene with the fishing vessel Kimberly, but we just received another Mayday call from another fishing vessel, the fishing vessel Heritage.
We started discussing, which one is really the more important case at this point. We got guys aground, and we got guys who are probably going in the water.
So we made basically a 90-degree left-hand turn and made our way towards the Heritage. It turns out the fishing vessel had completely sunk in 25 minutes. And we had 2 people in the water and a life raft with 5 people in it. These people were in 25-foot swells with waves breaking over their head. We actually saw both survivors get tumbled in breaking waves while we're doing our checklist.
Rescue checklist complete. Ready for direct deployment to the rescue swimmer.
Immediately after getting in the water, my hands start going numb right off the bat. My heart starts racing a little bit. I know this is a serious situation for them. But once I verified that I had everything on properly, I gave the ready for pickup.
Right 5. Swimming survivor out of the water. Swimming survivor coming up. Easy down.
As the hoist continued to go on, my gloves, my face was saturated. The rescue swimmer's gloves and his mask were actually saturated and freezing. When I reached out to grab the survivor, I couldn't feel my hand anymore, and I couldn't feel where the button was on the switch that was in my hand. The hard part was looking out the door, seeing the man that I'm wanting to save, and not being able to because my hand was too cold to do anything. But I pulled off my hoisting gloves. I was able to get my hand warmed up, and we went back after the next guy.
We got 5 people in the life raft that made it aboard the Tux Edney. 2 people unaccounted for that did not make it to the raft. Roger, if we have those 2 people on board our helicopter, we picked them up out of the water. If you have 5, then sounds like everyone's accounted for now.
Once we were confident that we had all 7 crew members from the fishing vessel Heritage safe, we heaved a sigh of relief on that case and went back to our original problem. We still had 4 people in very dire straits up there on the fishing vessel Kimberly.
The big thing, though, for my crew in particular was we knew we would be arriving on scene with some daylight hours. That's a huge benefit in us being able to successfully complete the mission.
And about halfway there, we started picking up winds at 30 knots, 40 knots, suddenly come 50 knots, 60 knots. And once we got below 2,000 feet or so, it became a little bit more steady. Still turbulent, but light to moderate at best.
Right, yeah, the door's coming open.
We started looking for places to hoist me down so I could make communications and see what we could do from there.
That's going down. That's going down. That's on deck, easy, right? They're putting the survivor in the basket. Roger.
We just decided that we're going to keep doing basket hoist.
Okay, ready to send the basket back out the door. Roger, continue hoisting, please. Roger. Hoist complete. Woo! Nice job, Chief. Just another busy officer, Big Daddy. Nicely done.
My name is Richard Sharp, crew member on the Kimberly. All I could say is that if it wasn't for the Coast Guard, we wouldn't have made it. I've got nothing but the highest praise for the Coast Guard. I don't know any other name you could call them besides heroes.
There's a tremendous amount of pride in making it through a night like that. The team effort aspect of this, it's always going on. Most people just see the helicopter on scene. They see the C-130 on scene. What they don't see is the network, the team of people that are working behind the scenes. No single flight could ever happen if it weren't for that teamwork. But tonight was an example of how it's really crucial for everybody to be working together.
To serve a purpose more than yourself and better than yourself is why you do this job. I think it's a common goal amongst all Coast Guardsmen. There's a purpose, a higher calling to try to help other people. And I think that's what it comes down to, is trying to help other people.